On today's broadcast, Apple previews new features in its mobile and desktop operating systems. Will they be enough to wean advisors away from Microsoft? Betterment launches a new tax loss harvesting algorithm. How much potential additional return can this service add to client portfolios? And if you just can't get enough of real-time stock and economic data, then you need to check out the new dashboard from YCharts. So get ready, FPPad Bits and Bytes begins now. Hey everyone, I'm Bill Winneberg, and thank you for joining me for this week's Advisor Technology News broadcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Wealthbox CRM. Don't waste another warm summer evening reading your CRM's user manual. Instead, turn on simplicity, tune into Wealthbox, and drop out of CRM school with Wealthbox's outrageously simple CRM. Get a free trial today by visiting fppad.com/wealthbox. This week's top story highlights Apple's announcements at its 2014 Worldwide Developers Conference held in San Francisco. The company introduced a ton of new features coming in iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite later this fall, but here are the ones that are most relevant to financial advisors. First, iCloud Drive was introduced as Apple's answer to popular cloud document synchronization services like Dropbox, Box, and ShareFile. You'll soon be able to synchronize all kinds of files, not just pages, numbers, and Keynote documents, to the iCloud service, but iCloud's Drive's sharing features are not as robust as other providers. While you can share individual files from iCloud using a unique URL, you can't sync entire folders of documents with other iCloud users. Second, an update to the iOS keyboard includes predictive text that will suggest contextually appropriate words and phrases to significantly speed up your replies while responding on your mobile device. Hopefully, this will put an end to your pithy text message lingo. Third, security gets a boost as data stored in the Calendar, Contacts, Reminders, Notes, and Messages apps first requires a passcode for access anytime the phone is rebooted. And fourth, iOS 8 will allow you to mirror your device's screen directly to an Apple TV without joining a Wi-Fi network. This peer-to-peer AirPlay connection is perfect for the times you want to mirror your iPad screen to a TV, but don't have access to a Wi-Fi network at a client's house or at a conference hotel. Try doing that with a Chromecast. Wah wah. On the OS X Yosemite side, advisors should enjoy the flexibility to make and receive phone calls from your computer using your iPhone, a supercharged Spotlight app that offers search results from Wikipedia, Bing, Maps, and more, and a clever handoff feature to synchronize your work in progress between your Mac and your iOS devices. There are more features like family sharing and audio and video clips in Messages, so visit fppad.com/133 for the links to all of the updates. Next up is news from Betterment, the online algorithm-powered investment service, which just announced the introduction of Tax Loss Harvesting Plus. In a very detailed white paper, Betterment identified how its Tax Loss Harvesting Plus service would have generated an additional 0.77% annualized after-tax return on 13 years of back-tested data. But as I read through the discussion of navigating wash sale rules and Betterment's parallel position management strategy, I couldn't help but think that managing such nuances of tax loss harvesting can potentially turn into a full-time job for advisors, especially those who employ active strategies with securities and ETFs. I reached out to John Stein, Betterment founder and CEO, and he confirmed that the Tax Loss Harvesting Plus service will be available in the Betterment institutional platform that will be introduced to financial advisors in the near future. So now you're faced with yet another decision. Will you continue to manage time-consuming tax loss harvesting strategies with in-house technology, or outsource this service once Betterment's institutional offering becomes available? And wrapping up this week's broadcast is news from YCharts, a research and charting provider to a variety of financial institutions. In response to overwhelming feedback, YCharts introduced a new dashboard application that allows users to build their own custom screens with all sorts of analytical tools. If you live and breathe charts, watch lists, and economic indicators, but don't want to pay the high price of a Bloomberg terminal, YCharts lets you view data on US and Canadian equities, ETFs, ADRs, and over 400,000 economic indicators. Sean Carpenter, YCharts co-founder and CEO, also told me that the next wave of data updates to YCharts will include mutual funds. To learn more about YCharts Dashboard, as well as see stories that didn't make this week's broadcast, visit fppad.com/133 for all of the links. Remember, Bits and Bytes exists because of the support of our sponsors. So be sure to visit Wealthbox CRM to see how their outrageously simple CRM can keep a user manual out of your summer reading list. Sign up for a free trial today by visiting fppad.com/wealthbox. So have Apple's latest announcements made you think twice about sticking with Microsoft? Do you think you can outperform Betterment's tax loss harvesting algorithm? I want to know. Send me a message on Twitter using @BillWinterberg or leave a comment on the FPPad YouTube channel. For FPPad.com, I'm Bill Winterberg. See you next time. To financial advisors. First, iCloud Drive was a little more jovial. Try doing that with the Chromecast. Not Comcast. Send me a message on Twitter using @BillWinterberg or search for me on Google+. That's an old one. Wah, wah.